Hi, everyone, and welcome to the next installment of Academic Insights, where we look at ARK Invest's big ideas. Today, we have Sandy Carter. She's a big mover and shaker in the Web2 space as well as the Web3 space. Sandy, can you introduce yourself and let everyone know what you do?
Yes, thank you so much, Justin. You're the big mover and shaker, I must say. But it's such a pleasure and honor to be here. My name is Sandy Carter. I am the COO of Unstoppable Domains, and we'll talk a little bit about it. But essentially, Unstoppable Domains is a digital identity platform where you as a user own your identity and your data. I'm also the founder of Unstoppable Women of Web3. And before I had this amazing role, I was also the VP for our, what would I say, regulated industries at Amazon Web Services, and have done a couple other really interesting things too. But Justin, thank you so much for having me on today.
All right, thanks for that. So, one of the topics we're going to talk about is in the form of wallets, and given that you all, primarily work with domains, where you can kind of, I'm not going to take away from your thunder. So, that you can link your Unstoppable domain, to your wallet. Can you kind of talk a little bit about that, as well as talk a little bit about the importance of decentralized identities and digital identities?
Yeah, so maybe I'll start first, Justin, around what is a Web3 identity, because I think that will put everything else in a nice frame. So in Web2, we all have a digital identity today. It's primarily our username and our password, and we use that to log into different platforms. So I might use it for Google or for TikTok or for Twitter. The challenge with that is that the data and the digital identity itself is all owned by the platform. And that's why we call Web2 really the platform economy, because the platform itself has a lot of the control. And for our privilege of being able to log into that application, the platform gets the data and has the privilege of having that digital identity. So if one of those platforms went down, all of your data would be gone because they own that data. Now, if we fast forward into the Web3 world or view of the world, a Web3 digital identity enables you to log into multiple applications, to use that digital identity to identify you and your brand, to do crypto transactions, which Justin just talked about, and to do so much more. But the real important point is that in that world of Web3, it's called the ownership economy, because you own your digital identity and you own your data. So you get to decide who, when, how, and how much of that data is shared at any time. It's a really powerful concept. One of the very first use cases of this digital identity was to link it to a crypto wallet. And that was really powerful because that crypto wallet, took this big, long string of letters and numbers, which you can make a mistake on. In fact, today, somebody tweeted that they tried to buy one of Frank DeGod's NFTs, and they lost $20,000 because they mistyped one number in that crypto payment. And so it's gone forever. But with a digital identity represented as a domain, you could type in sandy.nft and never fear losing that crypto again. And it's becoming more and more powerful. Like I was just in Las Vegas, and many of the stores on the strip now take crypto. And so I was able to go into one store and type in sandy.nft, and I was able to buy something pretty cool with just my my digital identity in Web3. Kind of fun.
That's very interesting. I just wrote that one down. I'm going to do some research on that. So in order for you to do that, given that Unstoppable Domains has a .nft domain, does the stores have to kind of adopt that, or once they're in the Ethereum network is kind of default? I mean, how does that work?
So, and I asked the clerk and she didn't know, but essentially whatever wallet that they were using to do that transaction, it had to resolve with Unstoppable Domains. And I think you know that today we do resolve with 165 crypto wallets, and that number keeps climbing every day because we want to be able to resolve with all wallets that are out there to make this really kind of like a universal resolution for a wallet. So it would have had to resolve sandy.nft to the wallet address in order to do that.
Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
So this question is more geared towards something that kind of arose for me last week, where we're developing a solution like a learn and earn model. So we actually received a grant from the Stellar Development Foundation, and given that, so we're creating a decentralized application. And we're working with another organization who pretty much educates industries and leaders of organizations on Web3. And they said, based on our feedback, the employees of these organizations, they want to get in, they want to learn, and they want to get out. They necessarily don't want to set up a wallet and track the key and things like that from a wallet perspective. Now, unstoppable domains, that's going to be one way that's going to be easier than to track your keys and things like that. But based on your experience, what type of feedback have you all been receiving in terms of non-Web3 natives to talk about digital wallets and tracking of that information? And also, where do you see the space going as we look to kind of onboard the masses who really aren't going to be concerned with tracking these keys and things like that? Or some of them don't even want to run the risk. Oh, you're telling me that I might lose my key and might lose everything? I'm not even going to do it. So what have you been hearing from the market in that one?
Yeah, it's a great question, Justin. And we've been hearing the same thing that you just expressed, which is Web2 users don't want to follow, not my key, not my wallet, not my money. And so one of the things that we have done is we've created what we call a vault or custody, where we will actually custody for people who don't want to offer that. And then you can get that money through an email ID or through maybe even a cell phone request. There are different ways to get access to that particular information as you're going forward. And one of the things that we've been looking at is how do we make this easier for those Web2 customers? And you know what, if you're okay with it, I would love to just, if you don't mind, kind of show you what this looks like, because we're having a lot of people now look at and sort through how they use this really as their brand and how they're branding themselves in the marketplace today. So if you don't mind, could I pop and just show you something real quickly?
Yes, please. I was going to ask you about that custody, that vault type model, because I was going to do my own research while you were talking about it. But yes, this is amazing.
Yeah, we can chat about that too. So here's one of the things that we're seeing, Justin, is that we've progressed so far with what we're showing as a digital identity. So if I could just walk you through this real quick. See, this is my sandy.nft, which is my digital identity. And then you can see right here, I actually have an avatar. That's a Ready Player Me avatar that works in over 4,000 metaverses. So if I took sandy.nft and that metaverse enabled me to log in with that avatar would come with me. It would travel with me. And that's another big trend we're seeing, is where people used to flip their avatar, like every metaverse they're in, they change their avatar because it was kind of fun. But now they're finding that they're actually building their brand in the metaverse just like they do in person. So if I went to, let's say, Consensus, and I went to NFT NYC, I would want to be seen as the same person. I may have a pink jacket on instead of an orange jacket, but I would want to be seen as the same person. And we're finding that as well. So now that digital identity can hook straight up to that avatar. Here you can see those two wallets, because I did have a wallet. So I haven't allowed a UD to custody it. I custody it myself with these wallets. And then I've linked up a bunch of social work and my location. Now here comes the secret sauce, because everybody who looks at this from the Web2 world, they're like, wow, this is my Web3 LinkedIn profile. And it really kind of is, right? Like I've got my tokens here, which you can see this House of Web3. I just came out. I got my membership token. The Boys Club, I just got that one. So you can see my digital assets, or NFTs, if you would. You can also see my Web3 website. So we could click that and go off to the decentralized website too. And then here you can see a bunch of badges. And now these badges really also enable me to almost get into a social network. So let's say I click on Crypto Tech Women, one of my very favorite ones, run by Gigi. You can see here there's 116 other people, and now I can communicate with these other folks that are in this group. This is another big trend that we're seeing, Justin, which are these micro communities that are starting to build up. Not just, everybody who is in the university, but maybe everyone who studies Web3 in a university. These micro communities are becoming stronger and stronger. This enables me to do that. I also now have the ability to see a leaderboard off of all the stuff that we're doing, very similar to what you see in the Web2 world. So now I can see who has the most badges, which badges are the best, who sponsored the badge. And so I've got a whole bunch of information now in here that can show and tell my social reputation, just like I could before in the Web2 world. And then if I really want to be specific, so you can see I've got 2 boss beauties there. I can also go in here though and filter. Let's say I want to showcase that sustainability is important to me. Well, this is a Nori badge that says that I've made all of my NFT purchases carbon neutral. So now, not only am I being able to show, let's say I want to show my tickets, like where I've been to, right? Because some people are like, well, my digital identity is tied to, I went to a Gary Vee event, or I went to the Sonic Bloom Music Festival. Now I can showcase what I want to showcase about who I am. So you can see immediately, I'm a big Gary Vee fan. I went to 2 Sonic Bloom concerts. I'm making my NFTs carbon neutral. This now almost purposely designs and develops my brand. Instead of me kind of thinking about what I want my brand to be, writing it down and then putting it in LinkedIn, here I put my money where my mouth is, right? Or I put my actions onto my brand, because these are actual things that I use and leverage every day. So now people can see what I'm doing on a daily basis. It makes a more authentic brand for a person or for a company than what you see today. And you also asked me where this is going. So let's talk about the future. You could see healthcare records being stored inside of that digital identity, right? Obviously protected, so no one else can see your blood pressure while you're interviewing me, that kind of thing. You could also see having education in here, right? Like I graduated from a certain college or university. You told me you went to NC&T, right? So maybe have that there, and then it's verifiable. LinkedIn was telling me they have a big problem because people who put their college in LinkedIn, a lot of times didn't even go to that college. They just do that to have something in their record. Well, now it would be verifiable because it lives on the blockchain. So it's immutable and not changeable. So anyway, there's so much power here and so much potential when you get to own your own data and you get to manage that data in the way that you would like to do that.
Yeah, I love this. I love this. And there's a lot to unpack and talk about on that one. So I think that yeah, I've seen the 90s Babes and Fame Lady Squad and Boss Beauties. I have all those myself. But and shout out to those teams. But yeah, so I think that you all are kind of essentially creating the tooling. You're creating the tooling for the wallets, right? And I think that that's one thing that is needed. And you make a good point in that you all are also developing the infrastructure for people to not only create their own chain story, but to also kind of create that on chain proof, right? So micro credentials are big within higher education. Credentialing is big. I don't think you would call it credentialing, but they do it on LinkedIn, right, with the badges. So that's one thing that we're kind of testing out with that stellar research study, where we're looking to see if blockchain can lead to increased financial literacy, right? So we're going to do a learn and earn model, right, where you take these classes and then you're going to get badges or micro credentials. They are soul bound tokens where you can't transfer them. And then if, if you're looking for someone in an unstoppable domains that, you're looking for these certain credentials, then you can actually within, I don't know what legality is to say, okay, what's your unstoppable domains address, or what's your address, right? They could actually post that, and then you can actually go and see, the certifications they've done. I've seen the Nori certification, which is one thing that we're doing. We're looking at sustainability and tracking the feasibility of tracking carbon emissions on the blockchain. So, that's another thing where, we can go on for days in terms of the tooling that can be added to wallets.
Yeah, it's really limitless. And if you look at this, you can see here, I've taken 3 classes with women of Web3. I was actually a teacher in a crypto tech class. Here you can see this is a bit degree class. In fact, I would love to introduce them and Nori to you where I taught there. Here you can see I was actually a teacher at Miss Cool Girls, which is teaching girls 6 through 12. And then I was one of the role models for Boss Beauty. So now I actually have a record of all of my teaching and education that I've done. It lives right here on the blockchain. I can't transfer these out. And so it really gives me a proof, or someone else proof, that yes, I just did this. Most recently, we made an announcement with a whole group of companies for the African 6 million women push. And that was really to train as many African women as possible on Web3 in the metaverse. And so there is a badge that has the country of Africa, continent of Africa on it, that can signify that they have been trained in either, the African Leadership Group or any of these other groups that we've been working with or leveraging as well. So there's so much possibility here of things that we can do. And value to not just Web3 users, but lots of value to Web2 users as well.
Yeah, I'm loving every minute of this. So
I can see your brain. I see your brain ticking. So
my page is already almost full on this on this topic. So for the things that you can discuss, right? I know you all are rolling things out all the time. What other types of integrations, or what other types of things are you all, thinking about doing, or where do you think? Because you also brought up a good point. We also brought up a good point in terms of security and education and healthcare, and I think that. So I'm a supply chain guy, so I've been saying for the last year, zero knowledge proofs are going to be huge, right? Fully homomorphic encryption is going to be huge in healthcare and education, So, if you can speak to it, what do you think is the impact of zero knowledge proofs, fully homomorphic encryption, and like the threat of quantum computing? What's your thoughts on those, if anything? I know I hit you with that. We didn't discuss that. So, but based on the things you said, that's what things that come to mind whenever you're talking about these things, because, security is going to be paramount in this space. And I think that's one area that a lot of people really aren't looking too much into, because I say there's no money in it. Right. So, with NFTs, it's limitless, but with the true use cases, we're not really seeing the true potential, because VCs can't make money off of it. So where do you think? What's your thoughts in terms of those 7 topics I talked about?
Just 7, huh? Well, I guess there's a couple of things that I would say is that security is job 0 at Unstoppable. We have to keep the data safe. And so we've really looked hard at what data sits on chain and what data sits off chain, why that's the case, who gets access to it, and that you, the user, are in control of your data. You get to decide when you share it, how you share it, how much you share it, for how long you share it for, which I think is really, really important. I would also say, if you look at quantum computing, now we're not doing quantum computing today, but I think quantum computing will completely change the game of how things are done today. introduces a whole new paradigm for computers. So maybe I'll just push that one aside for right now. Maybe we can do a whole nother session on quantum computing, because I did get to do a lot of that at both IBM and Amazon. But, you know, if you talk about integrations, future integrations, we just made 2 announcements around artificial intelligence. I do believe that, you know, Web3, the metaverse, and AI are going to be so intertwined. They're each going to help each other out. So we just introduced a set of AI generated avatars. So you can generate someone who looks like you or someone who, you know, represents you in some form or fashion, leveraging artificial intelligence to do that, to create your identity. Maybe the picture itself doesn't do it. Maybe there's another way you want to be represented. We also embedded ChatGPT into our search bar. So when you go and search for your digital identity, if you don't want it to be your name, you can go and do that now. I see more and more of us embedding and using artificial intelligence into what we're doing. Not just what we're doing for an offering, but how we're serving our customer or our user as well. I see us getting better and better leveraging and using those tools. And then, of course, more and more big partners. So, you know, we just announced .Polygon. So now for your digital identity, if you want to be part of the .Polygon community, again, another micro community, now you have that capability and that ability to be part of that. In fact, we're going to have a Twitter space with Sandeep, who is the CEO of Polygon, to talk about why communities are important and how this is helping him build that next generation of community based on Web3 and beyond. So hopefully that gave you a little bit of a sneak peek. I know I didn't hit all 7 of your topics, but I hit a few of the topics.
I know y'all have a lot of things that y'all are working on there. I was just giving it a chance to make sure we can see if I can get some alpha, but okay. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. All right. So finally, Sandy, thank you once again for taking the time to speak. So can you tell everyone where to find you and what would be your final call to action?
Sure, I'd love to, Justin. So if you're looking for a digital identity, go to unstoppabledomains.com to get that digital identity, or follow us on Twitter at unstoppableweb. You can find us there and you can see all the great Twitter spaces and get your alpha from those Twitter spaces. If you're interested in following me, my Twitter handle is Sandy_Carter. And you can go to that ud.me/sandy.nft, ud.me/sandy.nft. You'll also find my Telegram, my Instagram, all my other accounts there too. You can essentially find me on any social platform. Okay, so what would be my call to action? My call to action for everyone would be to go and get your digital identity today. One of my favorite quotes is that people overestimate the impact of technology in the short term. So everybody right now is like, oh, the metaverse hasn't produced, NFTs haven't produced, blockchain hasn't produced, but that's because we're just here. It's a short time. We're still in the very early days. But people underestimate the impact in the long term of technology and its power to really disrupt and transform. So all of you are listening today because you know that Justin's really got some great insight for you. And I would say what I would leave you with is go get your digital identity now. Go ahead and set up your Web3 brand. It's a great gateway into the metaverse and Web3 as you're looking at how do I get started and what do I do? Great first step for you. And it lasts a lifetime. You own that digital identity. You own all the data around it. And your brand then becomes very transparent and authentic. So that would be my recommendations for a great call to action, Justin.
All right. So thank you for that. And thank you once again. And for everyone else, until next time.